What's happening, hardscapers? This is episode 62 of the How to Hardscape podcast, where we talk to you about how you can start and grow your hardscaping business. And today we're joined by Greg Wittstock, aka the Pond Guy, and he is the owner and CEO of Aquascape, manufacturers of ponds and other outdoor water features. And we talk today about why you should be including water features into the services that you offer your clients and how you can sell your customers on these features. So without further ado, here's our interview with Greg. Today, I'm joined by Greg Wittstock, aka the Pond Guy. He is the owner and CEO of Aquascape, a company that has been out transforming outdoor living spaces with water features. Greg, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it.
Greg, let's get started to learn more about yourself and learning how this all started. How did you become the Pond Guy?
Well, I became the Pond Guy as a hobbyist. So back in 1982, I was growing up in New Jersey, and one day my parents said we were moving to the flat, barren cornfields of Wheaton, Illinois. And in New Jersey, we lived on a lake, and I had a very Huckleberry Finn type life, and I was not too excited to leave my lakefront home, but my parents promised me I could bring 11 of my favorite pet turtles with me and build a pond in my backyard. So back in 1982, I loaded up 11 pet turtles in the bottom drawer from the freezer, put it in the back of the station wagon. And the second day I was living in Wheaton, Illinois, I went in the backyard and started digging a hole to put the turtles in. And of course, back then there wasn't a lot of information, and we had to go to these things Michael called libraries. There were books and research and stuff. And I found all these books, but they were all from Europe and Japan and how to build koi ponds. And they said to make it strong, to make it out of concrete. And so I went and got rebar rod and concrete and lined the pond up, and ended up that first pond leaked, turned green, and my prize turtles migrated away. And that in 1982 was the beginning of my odyssey, because every summer I would rip it out and rebuild it, rip it out and rebuild it, MacGyver up, Jimmy rig up my own filters after they were getting clogged out of garbage cans and cattle troughs. And eventually people started to think it looked pretty nice, neighbors and friends. And then one day the UPS guy rang the doorbell to deliver a package, and I was, of course, in the backyard messing with my pond. So I yelled to him to come around, and he turned the corner and he goes, "This is beautiful. How'd you ever buy a house with a spring on it?" He thought it was a natural spring, which is an ultimate compliment to a contractor. And I said, "No, I built this." And he goes, "Can you build me one?" And I thought, there's got to be a business here. So in 1991, I launched Aquascape to build backyard ecosystem water features for fish and people. And I've been doing it ever since.
That's such an incredible story. So what all does Aquascape offer to contractors that want to get into these water features? Like, what are the different products that we can start to incorporate into our landscapes when we're designing them?
Sure. Well, there's three different types of water features. Fountainscapes that are basically the easiest. They're entry level. It's something that every single hardscape contractor should be just selling left and right, because they're so easy to install. And of course, it adds the water element to any landscape, which I think without the water element, every landscape isn't fully alive. So fountainscapes, all sorts of different types of fountains and fountain products. And then there is pondless waterfalls, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a waterfall without a pond. So it's basically just kind of a hardscaping with natural stone, natural boulders. That's more of, we would consider Fountainscapes elementary school in terms of the technical expertise. Fountainscapes or pondless waterfalls would be more junior high level, and then full-born ecosystem ponds that support aquatic life, fish and plants and everything else, that would be more of a high school level. And those are the three basic types of water features that Aquascape helps contractors learn to install and sell to their customers.
Absolutely. And I know that you guys have so many great resources online, from your YouTube channel to the Aquascape YouTube channel to even the in-person training that Aquascape offers, and incredible things at the Aquascape facility. It's pretty amazing the things that you guys are doing for this industry. Can you speak a little bit about the training, the education that you guys offer? Why does Aquascape feel the need to be able to invest into these education services for contractors and for people wanting to build these water features?
Well, the challenge that most contractors who don't specialize in decorative water features have is they're not really comfortable with all of the different aspects of it. And the biggest challenge is when they take on a project that's over their head. So it's very hard to get over your head on a fountainscape or even a small pondless. But when it comes to larger pondless water features or ponds, there's a bit of a learning curve. And so we do a lot of the education and the training around that, as well as teaching people what they should stay in their lanes with. If you're a hardscape contractor that just dabbles in water features, then you should really kind of just stick to fountainscapes and pondless, because they're semi foolproof, and as long as you can move rocks and dig holes, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, if you want to get more advanced and you want to get into life and ecosystems and everything else, which of course I love as the pond guy, we offer all the training and support materials in that. So basically, we're a training education division. Aquascape is a kind of a franchise system without a franchise fee. We assembly aligned the approach to water features. So Inc. magazine called me the Henry Ford of the pond world because of our assembly line approach. So every pond that we build, an ecosystem pond, is built with 20 products and 20 steps. And there's even less products and less steps for fountainscapes and for pondless waterfalls. So unfortunately, when it comes to water features, if you're dabbling in it as a hardscape guy, if you don't follow a step-by-step, paint-by-the-numbers type of a formula, it's going to become more work than it's worth. And the reality is, if you actually follow the system, you can charge a heck of a lot more for it, and you can make a huge profit level with water features that are in addition to any hardscape job that you do. So the reason that I, took your call and did this podcast is I really want to, right the misinformation that exists out there with water features by basically sharing with people that there is a set system. Just like if you're putting in a patio, there could be with you putting in a water feature, but you just got to know that system and follow it.
And the thing that I love so much about these water features, and especially with ponds, and you've talked about this on many different podcasts that I've listened to, at least, is that it's not only a step-by-step process, but there's also an art to it. There's being able to design it and make it the way that you see it. It really helps to put a personal touch to it and to bring added value to the customer with that. And I want to get into that with you, but I also want to get into building a pond. Just a quick little, installation. What are the different pieces if we're going to build a small pond? What are the different pieces that come in that kit if we were to buy it from Aquascape?
Well, every single thing that you need to put the water feature in, including the bulkhead fitting that hooks the plumbing up to the back of the filter. When I first got started, I was running around like a chick with my head cut off trying to assemble everything. And I said, I want everything in 2 boxes. And that's basically how we sell our pond kits, is everything from the fittings to the lights to the filters to the pumps to the liners to everything you need is there with the instructions that are both, in physical form, or you can just watch the online tutorial videos that are out there. And so that you're not having to fit anything together. And when you don't have to think about the construction process because it's a paint by the numbers, you can spend all your time on the artistic and the design elements. And so the irony of having a quote unquote assembly line approach to water features is it actually increases the designer's freedom to kind of design however they want to twist and turn the waterfalls, or design the water feature incorporated in the landscape. So you're not really worried about, the right size filter, the right size pump, the right size plumbing. It's all taken care of with when you order the kits. And then all you do is use your creativity to incorporate it into the landscape.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So going with the installation of it, do we just dig a hole, put the fabric down and it fill it up with water, put the pump in? Like what's like a very basic way of installing one of these?
So that all the 10-minute tutorial videos that are online at aquascapeinc.com or Aquascape Ponds on YouTube, how to build a pond, how to build a pondless, how to build a fountainscape. But obviously when we're talking ponds, we're talking an advanced level for a hardscape guy, because there's fish and plants and things like that. The fountainscapes are even less steps, but basically it's not just the steps, it's the order with which you do the steps. So the first step is to lay out the pond with a garden hose, spray paint that. The next step is to lay your your filters down so that you know where they're going to position. Put your pipe down. It took me, Michael, about 25 ponds before I started to realize I was digging up the dirt that I just dug up to put the plumbing down. Why don't I just put the plumb down first before I start digging? So, step one is to mark out the pond. Step 2 is to put the filters and the pipe down. Step 3 is to dig. If you start digging step 3, then you're kind of throwing off the system and you're making more work for yourself. So everything's formulaic. It's like the subway of ponds. There's just a set methodology and system. And once again, that increases your freedom as an artist.
And what are some challenges that you see come up time and time again for new people trying to get into this pond building, water feature building? Any challenges that you see time and time again that you can address and kind of get out there that, this is the way around that, this is the way to solve that, whatever it might be?
Yeah, it's real simple. When you went to school, you learned addition and subtraction in elementary school before you learned multiplication and division in junior high, before you learned geometry and trigonometry in high school. So unless you've mastered fountainscapes, addition and subtraction, don't go on to pondless waterfalls, which is multiplication and division, and certainly don't go from doing 1 or 2 fountainscapes to a full-blown ecosystem pond, because you're going to obviously make mistakes. Of course, we recommend everybody build a water feature at their own place, at their own house, at their own shop, so that they can live with it and understand it a little bit. But when you follow that system, which is a challenge for many contractors because they're opportunistic and hey, I put in 1 fountain, I'm ready to do a full-blown ecosystem pond. Well, hey, it would be better to walk than run and get a couple projects under your belt. And even if you could work with another certified Aquascape contractor in your area who would be happy to teach you a proper way to build ponds, because the biggest challenge we face as an industry is ponds done wrong, customer serve wrong, which is why the mantra for the certified Aquascape contractor program is ponds done right, customer serve right. So if you're in an area with a certified contractor, the last thing he wants you to do is to build a high maintenance, unenjoyable water feature for a consumer versus a low maintenance, beautiful ecosystem water feature. So I'd reach out if you're going to get into a project bigger than what you're capable of doing in the beginning. Reach out to a certified Aquascape contractor, and then of course start in your yard versus a customer's yard. It
seems like you guys have built this network of water feature enthusiasts, pond enthusiasts that want to build each other up. Is that how you would describe it?
Well, a rising tide lifts all ships. And so the last thing that with this industry that we want is guys coming in and hacking it up and already leading to more misperceptions about water features. Most water features are not built with a formulaic process. Most water features are kind of, one-off for a landscaper that's doing it. And when they do that, it kind of screws up the industry. So what we want is people doing ponds done right, customer serve right, and that will make all the contractors in the area sell more. So if you look at our certified Aquascape contractor network, the most people that are in the network are in the Chicagoland area, because we've been building ponds for 29 years out here in Chicago, and we've been doing it right. And so there's a lot of demand in the marketplace for what it is that we do.
Yeah. And if we are a hardscaper in the landscape construction and we want to start getting into water features, obviously it starts first with finding the customer and selling the customer on the idea of it. Whether it's somebody that we're designing a backyard outdoor living space for them and we want to incorporate these water features into them, how do you see us selling the customer on the idea of water in their backyard, a water feature, whether it's a pondless waterfall, whether it's a fountain, and whether it's a pond or all of the above? How do you see us selling the customer on these ideas of water features incorporated in their outdoor living space?
Well, it's always easier to sell something you yourself have. So I would install a fountainscape, a pondless and a pond at your showroom, at your house, at your mother's house, so you can live with it. And if people want to see them, you bring them by, and then you use the Aquascape literature, which is all online, all of our videos, our website, aquascapeinc.com. And literally, if you live with something, it's easier to sell it. And then water features, just like you said, need to be sold. They're not bought. More people than not, when we build a water feature in a neighborhood, we'll end up building 2 more in that same neighborhood, because people are now walking over and seeing it. Hey, I want one of these too. And of course, with these COVID times, it's just insane. Every single certified Aquascapes contractor is, it's August and we're booking jobs for next year now. We've never in 29 years in August been booking jobs for the following season. Now, if you want a water feature, it's coming out in the following season because people are investing in their properties right now, hardscapes too, anything that, because they're at home, they're living at home. So the way to do it is to start by owning it yourself. The next way to do it is to sell them by actually showcasing them with, in your portfolio, by using the kind of images, because they're all the systems that you install. So all of our photos and our photo libraries are all, a fountainscape or a pondless or a pond that you could actually buy the kit components for and install yourself.
Absolutely. So Aquascape supplies the product, but you guys also do installations, correct?
We are the only manufacturer in the world of decorative water features that has a full-time, maintenance crew, full-time construction crew, and a retail store that deals with the public. So all the products that we develop are developed in the field with field testing, and we bring them out, and then it's a franchise system without a franchise fee because we create all the marketing materials. The same things that we use to promote and sell water features in Chicago, our customers use all over the world to promote and sell water features wherever they're at.
And I've seen you guys recently work for, Shaq. I've seen the amazing pond that you guys put in for him, all of the construction that went into that. Now, if say we're more advanced, somebody has put in ponds before in the past, is something like that installed, is that more of a custom thing that we would come to Aquascape and say, this is our design, this is what we're putting in, what do we need, or how would that go about?
Well, that would be Shaquille O'Neal's pond. It would be PhD level. So that would be something that only a certified Aquascape contractor would want to take on. We have a tech department that specs things out. If you were to sell a project like that as a newer guy that's not that experienced, you would obviously bring in a certified Aquascape contractor. We have a network of people that travel. So literally their only job is to basically fly out to different areas of the country or the world and take on the project management for large scale projects. Typically, a project manager will run you about $800 to $1,000 a day from the certified network. So if you want a big project like that, you bring in one of the guys. He'll help with your guys to teach you. But yeah, obviously on a PhD level type of a project like Shaquille O'Neal's was, a $200,000 water feature, you're going to want to bring in a trained, highly certified Aquascape contractor.
That's great. Yeah, and it's always good to know that. And Greg, in your opinion, and you guys publish your numbers in terms of how profitable ponds can be if you're getting into this, how profitable water features can be. So why, in your opinion, are ponds so profitable, and why should we look into providing this service to our customers?
Well, it's an upsell, right? And you're selling art. So you're selling art, but it's a paint by the number type of formulaic process to build it. So you can charge more because the end result is so beautiful. So when you talk to people and you say that's $3,500 for that fountainscape, and it takes two guys 2.5 hours to do it, so 5 man hours to do it, the materials cost you $1,400 and you sell it for $3,500, do the math. You're making a 65-70% gross profit margin just by putting in a water feature that is an add-on to an existing hardscape that takes literally two guys, 5 man hours to put in, 2.5 hours for two guys to put in a small fountainscape, and at an average price for that's $3,500, and you got $1,400 in materials. So Aquascape, is our numbers are based on a 50 to 70% gross profit margin. And the irony here is the smaller the job, the higher the gross profit margin, because there's less that can go wrong and the easier the installation. So a fountainscape is really hard to mess up when all you have to do is dig a hole for a basin, put the basin in, put the pump, hook up the plumbing in 30 seconds with a screwdriver, and put gravel on top, put the basin on, or put whatever fountainscape on the basin you have, and plug it in. And that's it. And so you can be doing those all day long till the cows come home for your customers, which is a good question.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So
Michael, you said you used to work for a district.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
I have
you cut
a
out
question
there.
for you.
Yeah.
The question for you is, what do you do with water features now as a hardscape guy?
So as myself and my own business, we've only done one, and it's something that we are looking to push further and get into further, which actually is why, we wanted you to come on the show to talk with myself, to talk with everyone in our audience to be able to offer this to our customers. And the Aquascape training is something that I've been wanting to go to actually moving forward, to be able to educate myself further. And I've seen so many guys talk about it online and see all the value that you guys provide, which is why it's my next step in my business to be able to move forward with this.
www.pondemonium, P-O-N-D-E Pondemonium, Pondemonium.com is the biggest training event in the world. And this year it's all online, and it's next week, which is the 26th and 27th of August. And then it's online for 90 days after that. So sign up for that.
Amazing. I definitely will be. And Greg, what drew you to water features from as a young kid to now, and what do you think it is about water features that draws customers, draws people to wanting it done into their backyard?
Well, of course, my background was a hobbyist with turtles, fish and frogs as a huckleberry fin kid. But it is literally, like I said when we started, any landscape without water, water is life. So it becomes the central element, the key element. Whether it's a fountainscape, you just hear the sound and the birds come and get attracted to it, or it's a full-blown ecosystem pond with turtles and fish and frogs and things like that. And there's something for all ages. We have pond tours, and you'll see a 5-year-old kid that's feeding the fish, and you'll see a 90-year-old quote unquote kid that's just sitting there and enjoying and relaxing and watching the nature scene around him. So there's something for everybody in the whole family. A water feature is the only form of landscaping that needs future work. You need a hardscape to sit by and enjoy it. You need the plant material, the softscapes, to soften it up. And it sells that future work. And it's something, if you want to really draw people outside into the environment and spend time with it, put a water feature in. It'll suck them outside like a vacuum cleaner and deposit them in the backyard, which is why I love to go out with my vlogs and Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy, and travel around and showcase how people are living the aquascape lifestyle all over the world. Because in these stressful times, more people need the relaxation, the disconnect from electronics, everything else. And it's something for the whole family. If you're working from home or your kids are at home and homeschooling, you want to get a break, go outside for 15 minutes and just be in nature. And water is life. So incorporating into the landscape, really, I don't believe a landscape is finished when it doesn't have water in it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And we brushed over this really quick as I was just looking it up. And can we talk a little bit about Pondemonium? What can our audience look forward to if they were to register for Pondemonium? What's going to be covered? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yes. So, Pondemonium this will be our 22nd annual. It's the first time, obviously, with COVID digitally, but there's 74 sessions. I mean, this is, college level stuff, everything from recreation ponds that replace swimming pools to, fountainscapes, to all the new materials that we have with we have a whole fire element that's being debuted this year at Pondemonium in the new product section. So hardscapers would love that, because fire and water are a perfect combination, and it's a plug and play type of a thing. You basically just set it up and plug it in and put it into a propane tank, and you're off and running. So there's really, and then most of the sessions are given by other certified aquascape contractors, people that are in the field. They'll take you on tours of their ponds. All the artists of the year, the aquascape artists of the year are taking you on tours. People are taking you on tours of their operations, retail stores, to the back end operations of how they have their crews set up. So, and it's all over the world. We have customers in Australia that are coming in for this, England that are going to be out there, showcasing their stuff. So you really get a good perspective. And the nice thing about it is, for $150, you have 90-day access to this. You could be, watching a course or two a day for the next, 3 months and get through them all. And, or just go to the sections that you want, or start a section. And if you're not, it's not registering with you, then go to another section. So this is what is kind of the nice with the freedom online. Normally at Pondemonium, when we're together for hands-on sections, we have, 20 or less sessions. Now we've got 74 sessions online at just pondemonium.com.
And Greg, as we come to a close with this interview, I've always been drawn to manufacturers, to companies that are really investing into the community with content, with education, with everything that, Aquascape has been doing to educate everybody, to make the community a better place. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, but why have you yourself gone in this direction of, creating a YouTube channel for Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy, creating a YouTube channel for Aquascape, creating all these social media channels to educate and to get this information out there? Why was that so important to you yourself in Aquascape?
Well, most of what I read is misinformation, about what to do with the fish in the wintertime, to how to properly build a pond, to whether you can use rock and gravel to grow bacteria versus, we believe in then, work with Mother Nature and not against her, and the KISS philosophy, which is, what the KISS philosophy is, Michael?
Keep it simple, stupid.
There you go. So we don't want to overcomplicate stuff. So when we can go out there and instead of listening to me as the manufacturer talk about the maintenance of one of these water features, how about the actual homeowners, which is why I travel the world with my vlog camera and ask them on camera, what's the maintenance like? And they say it's less than the same area planted in grass or whatever it is. The team Aquascape, showing the 20-step installation process, every, Tuesday and Thursday, so there's so many things that we can easily showcase and broaden, as much of a challenge as social media can be with, politics and everything else that's going on right now. We just try to keep it fun and uplifting and showcase beautiful water features and creativity and inspire more people to live the Aquascape lifestyle and inspire more contractors for, doing water features correctly and serving customers correctly. So that medium of social media, the medium of, what we sell, which is a very beautiful thing, is very easy to pop up online. And that's why we're constantly doing it. In fact, I just put the presentation together yesterday. This year, just with collaborations alone, like the Shaquille O'Neal build, do 73 million impressions, 73 million views just on YouTube alone.
That is incredible. And Greg, I can't thank you enough for your time to come on the show to talk about something that you're obviously so passionate about and something that will help serve our audience a little bit more. Greg, where can our audience go to find out more about yourself, find out more about Aquascape, whatever it may be?
Well, I'm on everything. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook at just Greg Wittstock, WITT. STOCK, the Pond Guy, and of course Aquascape Inc. INC is our website where you can get access to everything as well. So appreciate you interviewing me, and really excited for you to start selling water features for your customers, because you'll find it's the most enjoyable aspect, because it's the most enjoyable aspect for your customers.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. Visit us at howtohardscape.com for more information on the subject, and you can also find our new merch line up there on our website at howtohardscape.com/merch. And you can purchase any merch there that you wish and help support us in getting more episodes out there and more valuable content out there each and every week for you, as well as on the website. Thank you to everyone that's just supporting us in any way possible, whether that's sharing, subscribing, leaving us a review. This really helps us get this podcast out there and into more people's ears, and to attract more great guests on the show to deliver you more value. We look forward to meeting with you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.